So you have heard this warning your whole life that business is hard and risky. You have to grind for 10 years, be patient, pay your dues. 5 years minimum before you see your first real profit. This information terrifies you because you don't have 5 years to wait before you can make a profit. You have bills to pay and people depending on you. So what do? You procrastinate, you plan forever, you research, you watch one more video, you wait to feel ready, you ask God for 1,000 signs. But deep down, you are hiding because the fear of how long it might take is louder than the dream. But what if you can collapse 10 years into 1 year? In December 2019, in the beginning of COVID, I launched my first business. The world was shutting down. I had zero business experience, less than $1,000 invested in this business, and a whole lot of fear and panic. I was terrified. But by the grace of God, 4 months into it, I made my first sale. And 7 months into this business, I hit my first 60K month. That same year, that business crossed multiple six figures. What you choose to believe becomes your reality. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I collapsed 10 years into 1 year and how you can do the same. And please take some notes and leave them in the comment section because your perspective might be what someone just needs to finally take the action and get out of paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. Now, principle number 1, move immediately. The gap between having the idea and doing, that is where your timeline gets stretched. Every time you say, I'll start next week, next year, next Monday, your brain reads that as canceled. You lose momentum and the support is gone. When the idea comes to you, you need to move immediately with that momentum. Abraham was told to sacrifice Isaac. He got up the next morning and went. Not next week, not after he did more research and asked for more signs. Immediate obedience is what collapses time. I had zero experience, zero proof, and a whole lot of fear. And I started my store. I didn't wait until I was ready. I moved and readiness came in the doing. Principle number 2, stay in the discomfort. Your breakthrough is not hiding in your comfort zone. It's on the other side of the thing that you keep avoiding. What scares you the most right now, that's probably your next move. The Israelites didn't cross the Jordan until the priest put his feet in the water. God didn't part the water first. They had to step into what terrified them, and then God moved. You have to move first, then God moves it. Every single time I felt resistance, ordering the product, listing it on the platform, advertising my product, bringing customers to my shop, showing up without experience before I felt qualified, I did it scared. God met me on the other side of that fear. So step into the discomfort and stay in it because this is where you expand and this is where time collapses. Principle number 3, declare it intentionally. Stop saying I'm trying to, or I hope, maybe, someday. God told Joshua, I have delivered Jericho into your hands. Past tense, delivered. Before a single wall fell, before a single battle was fought, Jericho was already delivered into his hands. So speak like the person you're becoming before you feel like her. Your words are instruction to your brain about who you are and what's possible. I started calling myself a business owner before I even made a single sale. I spoke about my business like it was already working, and my actions followed my words until the money followed too. So declare it and move as that person. Principle number 4, act like it's already done. Noah built the ark before rain existed. He built a massive boat for water that had never fallen from the sky yet. His neighbors thought he lost his mind, but he kept building. Faith is not waiting for proof. Faith is moving before proof shows up. And that movement, that radical, terrifying movement is what causes time to collapse for you. I can tell you it wasn't easy. The first 7 months were brutal. I was working 16-hour days while being a wife, a parent, and a full-time job. I built systems, created processes, and showed up with the energy of someone running a 6-figure business. Before I even made my first sale, I prepared for the volume before the volume came. And when the 100 order a day came, I was already efficient enough to manage it. Sometimes most people ask for $100,000 when they don't even have the skill and the capacity to even manage $100 efficiently. Principle number 5, prepare while you wait. There's a difference between passive waiting and expectant preparation. Passive waiting says, I'll see what happens when it happens. But expectant preparation says, I'm building for what's coming. So which one are you currently operating in right now? Joseph was ready to interpret Pharaoh's dreams because he had been interpreting dreams in prison. David was ready for Goliath because he had been killing lions and bears in the dark. During those early months of my business, I studied everything: marketing, human psychology when it comes to buying, the psychology of sales, how to advertise, what customers wanted, not because results were showing up yet, but because I was preparing for the moment they would. A few months ago, I was on a call with one of my clients, a college student, and as we were talking, she mentioned in passing that she built a template to help her track everything she had been doing at the university: assignments, deadlines, goals, finances, all of it. She built this for herself just to survive her semester. I stopped her right there and I said, other students need this. It wasn't a business. It wasn't perfect. It was just a template she created for herself because she was overwhelmed to solve her own problems. She listened and started selling it. Was it perfect? No. Did people complain? Yes. But here is what most people would do when people complain. They would get scared about the complaints, take their product down, use the negative feedback as proof that they should have waited to make it perfect. I told her, anything your customers complain about, fix it and repost the updated version. Every complaint became a blueprint. Every negative review was basically a customer telling her, here's exactly what to fix so I can give you more money. I guided her and she listened. She fixed it again and again and again. 6 revisions later, she had an excellent product. Not because she sat in her room perfecting it before anyone could see it, but because she let real customers with real problems shape her product into something efficient for them. Now, from just that one product, she makes about $4,000 a month. She didn't wait until it was perfect. She moved immediately. She stepped into the discomfort, stayed in the discomfort when they complained, and she launched the imperfect version and let the process perfect it. That's the principle in action. And before you think this is some new strategy I invented, let me show you something. This pattern is ancient. David didn't wake up famous before the giant. Before anyone knew his name, he was alone in the field, guarding sheep, killing lions, and fighting bears, in private with no audience and no applause. And then one day, time collapsed. One giant, one slingshot, one stone, and he became a national hero overnight. That wasn't luck. That was the reward of preparation. Because God doesn't promote you in public until he's tested you in private. So let me ask you something, and I need you to answer it very honestly. What does your private season look like right now? When no one is watching, when there are no validations, no customers yet, are you still showing up? Are you still building? Are you still creating? Or are you waiting for the result before you give your best? Joseph was faithful in prison, excellent when there was no reward, serving when there was no recognition, interpreting dreams in a cell with no promise of anything in return. And then, suddenly, time collapsed. He became the second in command of Egypt. Do you see the pattern? None of this was an accident. None of it was luck. Each of these events collapsed time because they were already moving before the breakthrough came. Time doesn't collapse for people who are waiting for proofs. Time collapses for people who are already in motion. So the question isn't, is your breakthrough coming? The question is, what are you doing right now in your private when no one is watching that God is going to use to launch you? How are you managing the money that you currently have? How are you stewarding the time that you currently have? These are the deciding factors of what collapses time. When I first started, I was paralyzed by fear of failure, fear of losing money, fear of judgment and criticism, fear of wasting years of my life on something that might not work. So I did what most people do. I prayed, I read every mindset book I could find. I consumed content more and more, and I was prepared, but I was not moving. And here is why. Your brain is not wired for success. It is wired for survival. It only gives you permission to move when it can predict you will be safe. The moment it cannot, it sabotages you to keep you safe. So you get scared and you overthink. But in reality, it's your brain just saying that it doesn't have enough data to determine if you will survive this. So the moment I knew this, I stopped trying to kill the fear. I started feeding my brain a different data. I took action when I was terrified. I took action when I failed. In spite of the fear, I kept taking action. Every day I showed up taking action like someone that's already running a successful business. It felt very uncomfortable because I didn't see the result. But guess what? I survived every single time. And slowly my brain got the message that starting a business will not kill me. Falling, failing, being laughed at, being criticized or judged is not the end of you. That's when everything shifted. My goal was never to make six figures or to reach a timeline or obsess over a number. I was obsessed with one thing, becoming the person who took action. I was obsessed with progress, becoming a better version of myself. I ask this question every single day. What does a woman with a thriving business actually look like? What does she do every single day? How does she show up when she's scared? How does she think when things aren't working, when things are hard? What decisions does she make? I focus on showing up every day as that person. Don't plan from your place of scarcity. You need to take action from the goal, from that identity of you already having it. Because money is a side effect, it's a result of who you become. It's not a cause, it is a result of something. So your question shouldn't be, how do I make more money? The question should be, who do I need to become to make lots of money come to me by default? You see the difference? And to answer that, you have to find the gap. Because the woman who makes 10K a month is completely different from the woman that makes $1,000 a month. Different mindset, different boldness, different relationship with risk. Everything about both people are different. So ask yourself right now, which gap is keeping you stuck? Is it a knowledge gap, which means you don't know what to do? Is it skill gap? You haven't practiced enough. Is it experience gap? You haven't done it yet. Or is it a belief gap? Deep down, you don't think you're the kind of person who deserves to have it. Because until you name this gap, you cannot close it. And until you close the gap, you would stay exactly where you've been the last few years. Most people identify the problem and then they go back to scrolling. They journal about it and pray about it endlessly without doing anything about it. And the gap doesn't care about your awareness, it only responds to your actions. So here is what closing the gap actually looks like. If it's a knowledge gap, stop guessing and go get the knowledge, the course, the book, the training. Ignorance is not a life sentence, it's just a decision that you haven't made yet. And if it's a skill gap, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be practicing. Build something messy, like I did, like all my clients do. Build something messy, create something imperfect, do it badly until you do it better. Skills don't come from studying, they come from doing. And if it's an experience gap, the only cure is to start. You cannot think your way into experience. You cannot prepare your way into experience. You cannot pray your way into experience. You just have to begin and let your brain collect the data. Every attempt, whether it works or not, is evidence that you're someone who takes action, and that evidence compounds. And if it's a belief gap, this is the most dangerous because it's very invisible. You can have all the knowledge, all the skills, all the tools, and still self sabotage because somewhere deep down, you don't believe you're the kind of person that deserves to win or win big. So you have to speak it before you feel it. Declare who you're becoming out loud, even when it feels like a lie. Act as if you already have it, even when the results haven't shown up yet. Because your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what is repeated. Say it enough, act it enough, and eventually it will believe you. Now, let me say this. Collapsing the timeline doesn't mean easy. It means focused. For a whole year, I worked 12 to 16-hour days, Monday through Sunday, because I wasn't just building a business. I was becoming the person at full speed. I had to compress the learning, compress the doing, and compress the becoming. That's what collapsing time actually looks like. It means that you are moving at an incredible speed. So you collapse years of slow, distracted, half committed effort into months of total focus. Think of it like raising a newborn. When you have a newborn, you are up every 2 hours. You are watching that baby doing so much. There is no work life balance there. There is just survival and love and showing up. But when that child grows up, they feed themselves, they dress themselves, they don't need you hovering over them. The business that I had put in 16 hours a day for a year now runs on about 2 hours a day. So your first few years will not have any work-life balance. It will be maximum focus to collapse the timeline. Most people want the grown child without raising the baby. I said no to everything in that 1 year, and now I have the freedom to say yes to almost anything that I want. So ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice for the next 12 months to get the life that you are praying for? Because the version of you that keeps every comfort, every distraction, every safety net will not collapse the timeline. So here is your plan today. First, identify what you've been delaying. What problem have you solved for yourself that God is nudging you to share with other people? All the problems that you have solved for yourself, you could sell those solutions to other people. Launch the offer, post the content, raise your prices. This is your first collapse point. Number two, identify your gap. Is it knowledge, skill, experience, or belief? Name it so you can close it. Number three, move today. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, today. Take one action that moves you closer to who you're becoming. Number four, change your language. Not I'm trying, but you say I'm doing. Don't say I hope, say I am. Your words are building your reality, whether you mean them or not. Number five, prepare for your suddenly. In the hidden season when no one is watching, what are you building? What are you sacrificing that only God can see? Because your breakthrough is not random. It is the reward for what you have been faithfully doing in secret. Stop waiting to feel ready and start becoming. Become diligent, become bold, become audacious, become the person who shows up when things are hard and stays when it's uncomfortable and builds when no one believes in her yet. And if this resonated with you, please share it with others. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I see you in the next video.